everyone, and welcome back to another Tabletop Odyssey episode. This is yet another Malifaux crew unpack, and today we are going to be taking on Tara and the Obliteration keyword from the Outcast faction. This was a very special favour from a local player who really needs a bit of Tara help, so we thought we'd put in our collective information and show them just how to play this very awesome master. With that being said, let's dive right in. Who exactly is Tara, and why might you want to play Obliteration? So, Tara was an overlooked orphan forced to survive in a world that did not notice her dying. She did jobs no one else would to avoid starvation. Dangerous work. Now when she came to Malifaux, she was one who took the role of monster hunting. As she was someone who was fearless, direct, and a little bit detached, that bleak practicality took her all the way to the door of Obliteration's prison. She didn't quite seek him out, but she resonated with the thing within. She found herself in a place without meaning, wandering for both a heartbeat and an eternity. Time, distance, all dissolved to nothing. Lifetimes of emptiness passed her. She and the place simply never existed. Or maybe they did. She refused to give it the satisfaction of breaking her. And the tyrant turned its eye to her. It wanted all things to end. It was obvious about that. And Tara could help them. He passed a shard of his essence to carry her into the world beyond. But as she stepped back into reality, a sniper's bullet took her out. But with the aid of Obliteration's power and the necromancer Karina she carried out of the prison with her, she survived. Reality then warped where she appeared. She carved openings in the air with her claw, dealt with the threat, and then disappeared again. No morality, of course, could tie her down, good nor evil. It was simply existing. Time and meaning meant nothing to her. Though she spends hours with Karina now, trying to find a little clarity as things start to piece themselves together. Maybe some meaning too. Obliteration for now allows it, for his victory is inevitable. He can wait for eternity. It is but a second. Why might you want to play them? Well, the Obliteration keyword is pretty damn cool, and maybe you're someone who really likes to embrace the nihilism part as a core facet of your existence. Nothing matters, nothing other will, and I will just happily let the world burn. Maybe you're someone who really just likes to mess with funny little timelines because after all the consequences are nothing to you. It doesn't matter whether you mess up the past, the future, or whatever because, frankly, who cares? Maybe you perhaps wondered what would happen if you turned Doctor Who into a time-travelling assassin instead, because that sounds fun. Instead of rushing around to helping people, just going around killing random people and watching what happens. Maybe you want to play with a fun summoner that controls the flow of the game, handing out things that allow you to replay duels or hand out slow tokens. Or maybe you're someone who took one look at the Nothing Beast and decided you'd like to be Cthulhu's best friend because Cthulhu is Cthulhu, God. Now bringing ourselves to the Beyond Time crew card here. This is for Tara Voidcaller, and she is a pretty spicy lady. She has the backtrack tokens, which are fantastic, so when performing a duel, you can remove it before any player cheats fate, and then all cards are discarded without effect, and then the duel is performed again with the same modifiers. You can't do it with a red joker, or a black joker for that matter, but it's really cool if you flip like a 1 to 5 and your opponent flips like a 10 plus, and you just want to go, nah, no, you're not going to do that. We're going to flip again. Second chance, right? Now, reset timeline here. That allows you as a signature on a 5. You can heal a buddy for 1, or if you remove a backtrack, you can heal it for 2. It's fine. It's a bit meh. You're probably not going to use it very often unless you really need some health on a hard-to-kill model or something. Glimpse the Void, however, is really cool. This uses a stone and it ignores line of sight. You get to place an echo marker within range of your 6 inches. And then place you into base contact, and then remove target. It's a stone leap. Quite interesting, but it does allow you to ignore line of sight, which could be pretty interesting. There will be situations you want to use this get out of jail free card, as it were. Now, echo markers themselves, they're pretty interesting. So if one of your friendly obliteration models dies within 10 inches of the marker, you can pay a soul stone. They don't give you one when they die instead, and they basically get to survive in base contact with this model, heal 2, and gain a flicker, so they'll die in the end phase instead. This can be pretty useful if you just need to squeeze out an extra bit of damage or something, or just tie someone up with Don't Turn Your Back. It could be pretty cool. We can combine this with a bit of slow as well, which can just lower enemies' AP. That's pretty spicy. Now, the Voidcaller herself, I really like her. She is definitely a fantastic schemer, but she can do a bit of killing too. She's one of those people with 14 wounds, 5/6 defenses, and through the hall as her defense. This means once per activation. When targeted by an attack, you can just casually drain a soul stone to cause it to fail. So if you've got those soul stones, and believe me, you should have enough, just forcing people to spend that extra AP to really get through to you, because there's that chance that she can just pay that soul stone and just turn your attack to 0 straight away. Now, she also has a drift in time, so she is going to, when a friendly model would activate, she can then drain a soul stone if she's already activated to gain slow and activate again. This is really good. You get that extra time to go off and scheme, or to go and get an extra couple of swings in on something. It's pretty cool, once per turn obviously, but as long as you've got a model that could activate, she can jump in and steal her extra activation again. Does mean she can't go last, but that's nothing to be afraid of. Now, in order to get a bunch of stones to power those abilities, we do have the Soul Stone Sword, which is a nice 2 damage attack, but on a raise gives you a Soul Stone, which is really cool. I really like the Mutilate trigger here as well, to hand out slow or an extra damage if they've already got it. She's just going to be really good at while spreading out a dangerous condition. Now, Stutter Time is her tactical action. This is going to hand an ally within range a backtrack token, and then if you get a raise, so that's on a 9, they are going to place within 2 inches as well. Hopefully you can get yourself a tome here to hand out an echo marker, because they're still pretty useful. Now, you can also put out some echo markers a different way with Time Slip. This is going to allow you to dump one at your feet, and then you get to teleport 6 inches away. Pretty nice if you just want to get yourself out of the way. You don't have to spend walks, you can just flip a 6 and teleport instead. Pretty cool. And then finally, from the Void, now this is a summoning ability. You get a positive if it's your second activation, and you can basically create an obliteration model within range 8 inches with a flicker token. So that means they will die at the end phase, which is a bit annoying, but this is still pretty cool. We have Void Wretches, which are a little bit schemy, so you probably don't want to use them. Void Hunters, which are really good for Don't Turn Your Back and for stabbing. And then the very nice Nothing Beast you can summon as well, which is really good at killing something if you can get that card out to summon with. If you manage to get the card, I would save it for that. It's very useful. Most of the time, though, it's probably going to be a Hunter. Onto Karina, her totem. Now, I really like Karina. I think she's really fun. She's got a lot of combos. Now, 4/5 defenses, 9 wounds is not great with only manipulative to save her. It does mean she wants to go really late in the turn, but she has an ability that wants her to keep relatively close to the action. Eek. We'll get to that in a moment. First up is Time Warp, which is basically an improved tap the ley line. You get to look at the top 3 cards of your fate deck, draw one, and then shuffle your fate deck and discard pile together and put the remaining 2 in any order on top of your deck. That's pretty cool. Nice little setup. You know what cards are coming, and any of those good cards are shuffled back into your deck. Well, maybe some of your bad ones too, but who knows. Now, she can also Stutter Time to hand out backtrack and place some models. This can combo really well later on, but it's that Mend trigger here, which is going to prove really useful, keeping your guys topped up. She's then got her signature attack, which is a 2 damage, 8-inch magic attack, which is okay. Has a nice chance to catch a glimpse to look at some of your cards, placing them back in the same order, so you get to know what's coming next. Or once per activation, you can hit them with a rock if they're within an inch to turn that into a 5 damage attack. Fun. Now, of course, she does really want to be within 8 inches. of an ally, preferably with Flicker, that's going to die, because Last Grasp is going to turn that death into something valuable. For the cost of a card, that dying model is then going to deal 2 damage to enemies within an inch of them. So having that in place for when they flicker out of existence is going to be really, really strong, as it's nice unresisted damage for the cost of a card. Maybe Time Warp is helpful. Fleeting Moments, however, is the other crew card, and this is more of a killier crew, if I'm being honest. Tara Timeless really likes to leverage echo markers here. But before we get to that, the branching timeline here, basically if a model is summoned from the echo marker, you can remove the slow and heal 2. Now the heal 2 is basically irrelevant because you're dying at the end of the turn anyway, but the slow getting rid of gets you an extra AP to go murder something, and we always love that. Temporal Anomaly, however, is the real kicker to this crew card, and it's for the cost of a stone, allows you to target an enemy within 8 inches. You need at least a 4 for this to go off, and obviously to beat your opponent's willpower. And you get to do 1 plus X damage, where X equals the number of echo markers within 4, and then you remove 1 afterwards. This means that if you've got 5 markers in play, you can, for the cost of a stone, hit someone for 6 damage. Keep your backtrack for it to make sure it goes off. And then you can follow it up for a potential 5 damage attack afterwards if they're still not dead. This is absolutely nuts. And getting 5 or even 4 really echo markers in range is fairly trivial for this crew. Timeless herself is a 6/6 defense, 7 speed and 14 wound model with butterfly jump. She's going to be really good on that front, allows her to jump around the board fairly quickly, all things considered. If she's getting hit, she's just going to bounce away, keeping her out of range of a few things. Now, Lost in the Moment also means if she has a backtrack token, attacks targeting her cannot be cheating Fate, which is really, really good, especially if you want to just force some terrible cards through. If you use the backtrack as well, obviously, they can't really do anything about it. You've then got 3 great actions to use. First of all, her Obliteration's Claw. It's just a really nice 3 damage attack that can target defense or willpower, which is really good. Just hit the weakest stat. And then Crit Strike can make that 4 damage, which is pretty cool. But I think the Drag Through Time might be slightly better. Hands out slow to them and moves them 2 inches, so you can get them right near some echo markers. We then have Expedite, which is going to target an ally, can't target the same one once per activation though, and then gives them a backtrack token and they can declare a general action. This is more often than not going to be a walk action or a charge, but it could be a scheme or a slam, all of which are really useful. I do actually like charging into play, it's going to be very useful. Chronal Glitch as well allows you to place the target in base contact with an echo marker within 6 inches of itself, which is pretty cool. Hopefully there'll be an enemy there to wail upon. Otherwise you can just place and, continue scheming. Finally, Rewind, which is really the kicker. You're going to be using this a lot. You can target friendlies if you wish, but it's probably better used on enemies. You get to make a echo marker in base contact with the target, and then this model may place the target within 4 inches of its location. So you can bring your allies upfield, or you can make sure that you can throw these enemies right into a bundle of echo markers. And then from every raise this receives, you can increase the distance by 2, which is cool. The Mend trigger helps you heal up your allies, but the alternate timeline allows you to choose an ally within 6 inches of the target, place the target in base contact with the chosen model, and then the chosen model swaps with them. So that's a really cool way of just kidnapping people straight away, throwing them into a really dangerous situation. Okay, onto her totem, the Scion of the Void. Now he's a little bit more durable than Karina with 5/5, 9 wounds and incorporeal, so he's going to be reducing damage from non-magical attacks by 1, which is really nice. And he is basically spending a lot of time using the Future is the Past to throw out echo markers within 6, potentially placing them in base contact with one of them on a mask. He also has the Hungry Emptiness attack, which is going to do a nice 2 damage, and if you receive a raise, drops an echo marker down. Siphon Life can make it 3, or Drag Through Time can give it slow and moving the target. Very, very tasty. But really, the kicker to this is the mark of Obliteration, allowing you to draw range and line of sight from your attack actions from echo markers within 8. Remember, you can use the crew card attack here to draw range and line of sight from an echo marker within that. So you can attack through and just delete people from a nice, safe distance. Tasty. Now onto the rest of the crew now, and we're going to start off with our henchman Aionus, who has a really nice 5/7 in defense with 11 wounds for a cost of 8. He has Aegis as well, which is going to be really useful at reducing damage, especially since there's less Spellbreaker than there is Piercing in the game. Now, this model also has buffering, which is going to be really key. So when he ends his activation, he can remove an echo marker within 6 to make another one within 3. So he can just, if one's a bit too far from the field, he can place it up where you need it. He also, when he kills a model with Stitch in Time, he can give slow or backtrack token to a model within 6. This is really good at just crippling enemies further. You wail on something easy and then hand out slow to an enemy, or give yourselves a backtrack. Tasty. Now you are going to be doing a lot of murder with TikTok. I really like this attack. It's a 2 damage magic attack that gives out slow. It also has leech strength to remove tokens from the target to heal yourself 1. This is really good at just stripping good tokens from the enemy. But also it has the stone trigger crumble over time. When resolving, +1 damage, or if it's turn 3 or 4, +2. So you get to that turn 3 and 4 and you're suddenly doing a 4 damage magic attack. You can really splinter things if you like. You also have stutter time, just like Tara and Karina do. Can hand out a backtrack and can place on arrays, which is really cool. And Sever Timeline is a real kicker here. Allows you to choose an ally within 8 and make an echo marker in base contact and then place them within 4. Making those echo markers for a cost of a 5 is very, very efficient. You get to pump out a few that can help out Timeless, or you can get that movement that's going to help out Voidcaller. Catch a glimpse looking at the top cards of your deck can be really useful as well, especially if you need to set up a summon or something, so that's something to consider. And to the Nothing Beast now. Now, this model is 9 cost. They're a pretty decent beta. In Voidcaller, I think you don't hire this model. I think you just summon it, and you summon it every turn if you can. In Timeless, it's probably worth the hire. So he's got 7 speed, so he's pretty agile, 6/6 defenses, 11 wounds, so he's nice and solid with Incorporeal to help keep them alive. And they have a very interesting demise here. So it's worth noting there's summon target 13, so you do need that 13 or red joker in your hand to summon this model, which is really, really annoying. You are going to get a positive if it's Voidcaller's second activation, but find a way to get that card if you can. It is worth it. Now, if he has a flicker from being summoned, he's going to reduce the damage dealt to him by 1. That's not particularly relevant, but it could be useful. Now, when he dies, probably from a flicker token, he's going to get the stolen moments. So when he's killed, enemy models within 2 inches of this model must pass a TN12 willpower duel or gain slow. Ouch. If we're combining this with Karina's popping of enemy models within an inch taking 2 damage, this can be really, really nasty to finish off a bunch of people, or at least cripple them with slow. Now, he is hopefully going to do a number on anything he's summoned nearby with Obliterate, a signature melee action that does 3 damage at 3-inch range, and if he happens to have the target within an inch of an echo marker, that's going to be on a positive too. To make things even worse, he's got a delay trigger to hand out slow, Siphon Life to make it potentially a 4 damage attack and healing yourself, or Shove Aside, which is going to be really good at pushing an enemy away, and then pushing yourself to attack yet another model, getting through any potential bodyguards. You have Stutter Time, which is kind of okay. Once again, the same as we've seen on a few guys, but the On Your Heels trigger here is really nice to place you in base contact. That's a nice 8-inch jump. or potentially further if the target gets a place. This is really good at just hopping across the board. Finally, accelerate time though. If you really want to get a few allies upfield, especially early on in the game, or really need to unstick some people so they can go out scoring, you can pay a Soul Stone to have, once per activation, allies within 3 to place within 3 inches of their current location. It can be really nice to have in your back pocket, but I don't imagine it being used very often. Realistically, you're just going to be spamming Obliterate a lot of the time, unless you need to get on the field somewhere with on your heals. And then hopefully, if you're a summon, you're going to die and splash for death. Otherwise, this model is just going to be a little bit of a hunter. Talos, on the other hand, is more of a tanky model. He has 5/6 defense, 11 wounds, armor, which is really nice, and Soul Furnace, so if he's within an inch of an echo, he's getting positive to his defense, all for the cost of 8 stones. He is also very good at smashing people in the face. For a stone less than the Nothing Beast, it might be worth it. He has Rush, so he gets an extra 2 inch on his charge, and can hit you from 4 inches away, ignoring line of sight with a 3 damage attack. So yes, that's right, his Incorporeal Void Hammer can hit you through a building. Lovely. It also has the effect of handing out slow on a crow, which is really nasty, or on a ram. You can remove a token from the target to deal an extra damage. Ouch. So all those people who like buffing their own crews with tokens, don't play into Obliteration. Not fun. Your signature, however, is a bit of a measly Steel Essence, healing you for 1, handing out 1 damage, with a chance to look at the top cards of your deck or hand out slow. It's fine. I think you're more often than not, especially in Timeless, going to be using your crew card if you have the stones available. I don't know. It's a hard one. I think some signatures are probably better than this. Healing's okay. Open the Furnace, however, 4-inch range is really tasty. For cost of a 6, you can splash out 1 damage and have a chance to hand out slow on a ram as well. Could be interesting, especially if you've got a few people nearby. Otherwise, just keep bashing and tanking. Hard Stop Herbert is an interesting one here. Now, I like Herbert because he's very fast, okay? Armor is nice for 5, 5, and 8. Keeps him alive a little bit longer for a Premier Schemer. He's got 7 speed, and Onward is really good for that extra walk, so you can scheme, or walk, scheme, walk. An 88 mile per hour stone trigger here. If we're going to travel through time, as it were, you're going to place in base contact with an Echo Marker or a friendly A-Bomb within 6. So if you're within Amalgam, it's going to be the A-Bomb, or with an Obliteration, it'll be the Echo. Place with an Echo Marker, so you're going to do that walk and then place after. Could be useful. He's also got Rush, so when he charges, so it could actually be charge, scheme, walk to get that extra 2 inches. If he hits someone with that charge, it's going to do 3 damage instead of 2 on catching the treads, and with a ram for an extra damage as well. Could be nice and tasty. Burst of speed moves 5 as well, so you've got a chance of just blasting straight through the other side of people and continue scheming. Very nice for 6 cost, but there might be cheaper options if you want something a little bit... You don't care about it, things being a little bit more fragile and you need the space in your list. That could be worth considering. Now, V is actually really useful, and she's just going to make everyone pretty fast. She's quite durable with armor and hard to kill, 9 wounds, 5/5 defense. If you have a little bit of incidental healing, which I know this crew does, she should be able to stick around fairly easily, and she is basically here to spam Secret Inspection, which from 8 inches away you can force a friendly model to move 5 inches and then make a ski marker in base contact. Fantastic. Triggers allow you to heal 2, even better, or remove a token from the target. Could be a nasty one. Really strong. For a signature that targets friendlies, this model could be, honestly, it could be in any crew, not just Amalgam or Obliteration. Now, Overclock Burn you may not use very often. It's just a 2 damage magic attack that gives out slow on arrays, and can hand out crit strike or ignore magic defenses or remove tokens. It's okay. It's not going to be used very often unless you really need to finish something off. Like I say, Secret Inspection, allowing your guys to scheme really well, is practically necessary for unpacking. Finally, for our uniques, we have 33. A very interesting model. It's probably mediocre in Voidcaller, but really strong in Timeless. And this guy, or gal rather, is 5/5 defense, 8 wounds, and incorporeal, so kind of okay sticking around. And they have 2 places at once, which basically means if an ally is going to place within 6 inches at once per activation, you can place it within an additional 2. So that's pretty cool, especially with all the people like stuttering time around, moving your models. If they're going to do lots of places, you can just place them further. Now, you do have a sensible little Lost Piece Bringer gun here, which does positive if it's within an inch of an echo. Pretty cool. Not going to be used very often. Torn from the Void, 2-inch melee, 2 damage. If it gets raised, you can place this model within an inch. Fine. Prayer Nothingness is probably good here to increase the damage if they have a token. But really, we're going to be spamming in Timeless this Slam the Coffin action to create an echo marker within 8 inches. And then enemy models within 2 inches that have to pass a willpower dot against slow. Really, the slow is just nice to have, but you really just spamming the creation of an echo marker on a signature for 3 6s, essentially. It's fairly easy to get across. And you can build up that, and then maybe someone like the Scion of the Void or Aionus can finish off the final 2, ready to just destroy someone. On to our minions. We do not have a lot of these. First of all, we've got the puppies, which are Void Hunters. They are little Void doggies. They're pretty fun. They cost 6, so they're pretty cheap. They have Don't Turn Your Back, so goodbye interacts if people activate near them, and Incorporeal with 7 health means they're pretty survivable for their cost. Soulburn, however, does mean if you are summoned or get a slow from any other reason, you can just take 2 damage instead, which means that extra AP, it means they're really good summons. You're just like, oh well, I'm gonna die at the end of the turn anyway, I don't care about taking the health, I'm just gonna be summoned, I don't want that slow, I'm going to come back and bite people's faces off. And their bite is a really weird one. It targets willpower, which is really cool. 2 damage. But if they've got if you've got no cards in your control hand, you gain a positive. Now, you really don't want no cards in your control hand, especially if it's Voidcaller, because you'd want those cards available for Karina when these guys flicker at the end to deal extra damage, but could be interesting. Crit Strike is really nice, obviously, but Hole in the World's really tasty at placing people into that group. Gives just a nice little kidnap. 6 inches is a big place, okay? So, yeah, throw them across the board. Finally, Stutter Time. Once again, we've seen this quite a lot. Hand up backtrack on a raise, let them place. You've also got that, like, Leech Strength, so you can remove a token again, and you can heal off of it. So you've got a lot of token removal, at least from both allies and enemies, which could be really useful if you're facing a token heavy crew. I really like these guys, they're nice and tasty. Yeah, I'd hire them in Timeless. I'd probably summon them mainly in Voidcaller. Pretty fun to have. Finally, the Void Wretch, or the chickens as I like to call them, Void chickens. Bork. These guys are little ankle biters. They only cost you 5, so slightly cheaper than Herbert. They are a lot more fragile with 4/4, 6 wounds and incorporeal though, something to consider. But they are another onward model, but at size 1 they can hide a little bit better. These guys are then fairly useful at essentially going around and scheming. Pushing buttons and the like can be really good. Don't bother getting them into melee. 1 damage at skill 4 is really not worth it, even with a Draw Out Secrets trigger, so ignore that. And then finally, the Demise can be useful. When they're killed, you can remove a scheme or echo within line of sight to make 1 in base contact with this model. It depends where they die and whether that's useful. The scheme is probably the most useful of that, so if you do happen to die, there's a chance of just dragging a scheme into a good position. Something to consider. They're only really worth summoning if you've got schemes already available for them to die and drop it into a good place. Otherwise, they are hires and pretty much only for things like plant explosives or boundary dispute or something like that, where you really need a lot of interacts. Onto the out of keyword models, and really this one technically isn't out of keyword because it has quick study. It is the Hodgepodge Emissary. And this is going to gain your keywords, which means yet another model to spam out your time nuke in Timeless, and another model that can interact with all of your other abilities. Hard to kill is really good as well, and Tempting Fate means you can keep your master alive for a cost of 2 stones, 4 damage to yourself if you really need them to be alive, and sometimes you just do. And you have the stones available, of course. Now this is a very interesting model. So first of all, Junk Strike, nice little 2 damage attack from melee, and if there's a non-scheme mark within 2, you can remove it to gain a positives. Now this could be a lot of corpses, but it could also be echo markers, which you do tend to put out fairly easily. The Heave as well can be really good at just like placing people within that mess of echo markers. Or you can draw out secrets for scheme, which could be really cool, or adversaries also nice too. But really, this model is all about plenty of wares. Your signature, which for the cost of a 6 with an inbuilt crow, might I add, once per activation, you can target another friendly and heal them too. Tasty. You got to draw out secrets on a tome if you wish, but really, you're going to be handing out a trinket upgrade. Now, there's 3 of these, and I'm going to rank them from least to most important. Starting off with the Monkey's Paw, which is a bit of a awkward one. Now, Cursed Wish allows you to increase your speed by 1, but when you walk, you take a damage. Right. Bit awkward that. You do have other ways of not walking to avoid that if you don't want to take the damage, but is what it is. But the Demise Wish Granted is really nice because when you die, you infuse 2 stones instead of 1, so you can help that stone pool be very, very healthy. Next up is the Well-Worn Boots for the Expert Climber. I really like these because you can just get in and out of terrain fairly easily. Once per activation, just walk or charge, ignoring vertical distance. Really good at getting into a nice position. Always good to have. But finally, the Coup de Gras, the Pretty Flora Bonnet, handing out Don't Mind Me to a model so they can just scheme as they please is fantastic. It's the reason you take this model. Oh my god, it's amazing. Don't Mind Me is a fantastic ability. For a versatile, handing this to any of your models is incredible. Yeah, it's definitely worth 8 stones. Finally, I've gone for a bit more of a rogue pick, the Midnight Stalker here. Now, my thoughts are maybe we want to make this a little bit more scheme huntery, because a lot of the time in Timeless we want things to be a little bit closer together. We like bunched up and just murdery. And in Voidcaller, things maybe don't have the health or durability to be able to go out on the flanks. So the Midnight Stalker is a nice option to have. 5 life defenses is not the best, but with 8 wounds and manipulative, if you're going late in the turn, you can be quite effective. Invader is going to be really useful here, as it's going to allow you to gain an adaptable when you activate on the enemy table half, which is going to be obviously quite useful because you're going to need it. The thing you're going to need it for happens to be probably Leap, which requires a 3 of masks, so obviously with adaptable you don't have to worry about the masks, you just need a 3 to leap 6 inches away, which is really tasty. Could get you on the other side of the table half, gets you into really good scheming or murdery positions. Now, Work of Art is also a really good way of getting across the board, especially if you don't have that mask available. If there's an enemy within 6 inches, you can target them against speed, deal 1 damage, and place this model in base contact with them. And if they're a lower cost, you get to do a melee action which perceives +1 damage. So you're really, really focused on targeting schemers. You are a scheme hunting model. Very good, especially because schemes generally mean points, so getting rid of those small, weaker models while the rest of your crew focus on the big brawl in the center can be really nice. And you are going to do your little smack with a Sword Cane, which is a skill 6/2 damage attack that hands out injured on a raise. Pretty nice to have, good at weakening them up. And Crit Strike is obviously very available. You can put that in on the other table half if you've got adaptable for free, which is pretty cool. A nice tasty model to have around. Okay, on to the Tactica portion of the video. First of all, we've got the Voidcaller, and she has 2 activations, so scheming is a breeze. Use it wisely, make sure you're already in a good position, and time it well for your second activation. Remember, she cannot go last. Make sure there's always someone there. Get herself a good activation, even with slow, to go around and just dump some extra schemes in a good place. Get a few extra hits on. Be very useful. Or do some summoning if you have the cards. Maybe you do, who knows. Now, summons are of course really great, especially the Nothing Beast if you have that 13, but otherwise those Void Hunters are still pretty good. They are going to go and beat something up. That is their main job, because they don't care about anything else. Now, Karina can of course leverage the Flickered from summon tokens, and they die to give an extra punch with Last Grasp, so make sure you've got some cards in hand as well when it comes to that end phase, because when they start popping, they are going to pop hard. Oh, and, well, if they happen to die before the end phase, within reach of an echo, 10 inches, feel free to just pay a Soulstone and bring them back again for another go, because you know that you have the chance then to get into a good position to pop with Karina, or just have yet another swing if you feel like, or maybe a couple of swings with the likes of the Nothing Beast. A pretty Flora Bonnie is never a bad idea on Tara. She just really likes scheming and hitting things, but scheming, especially with Don't Mind Me, is going to be really easy, and the Hodgepodge is always there to support with lots of healing as well, and can utilize the echoes that you're dropping around for a bit of an extra punch. So I really recommend the Emissary here, if only for that. You also do have some good movement with the likes of V and 33. You can really stutter people up the field very quickly, especially if you get a bunch of 9s for those raises. There's healing attached to a few of those as well, which is really nice and tasty. And then with the likes of Herbert and the chickens, you've got a lot of onward, so you can really just get into good position and press lots of buttons. Finally, backtrack tokens, I really like them. They're really good to guarantee you winning the duels that you need to win, get important kills, or make them redo attacks that you really don't want, because they could be killing you, or at least killing you at a point you don't want, or a place you don't want to be. So stopping those attacks, wasting their AP, combined with slow, nasty, nasty stuff. Timeless, on the other hand, is the super killy version. We know about that magic nuke, but she's personally still got a really great melee attack that hands out slow. But you can also get allies to do general actions for schemes or walks or charges. So really utilize that to get the allies into the great positions they need to be, get a little bit of extra actions out of them, a little bit extra schemes. And also she needs to just toss out echo markers like crazy. They all do. It really saves you that time if they don't have to walk so much to be placing echoes with Aionus, Talos, Scion, and 33. 33 is probably the best dealer at this, but Scion's still pretty good for it too. Make sure you get all 5 down near your target before spending 2 stones with a unique to obliterate them. Remember, if you've got those 2 stones, and I do say it's 2 stones, because 6 damage is good, it's going to kill schemers, but for the more beefier models, 11 damage into that, armor's only going to stop so much, right? Just obliterate something, like the keyword suggests. Now, V does solve your movement puzzle. They get people up quick, they drop schemes down, all of which are great, and of course you've got that extra stuff to stutter time and get forwards as well. And she can top you up while the hunters can limit enemy scoring. Hunters are really good, but don't turn your back. Combined with things like slow is really nasty. Hunters also have a kidnap trigger as well to throw people into those echo markers. You got a few different things like that. They're really useful. Get them close to lots of echoes and then blast, blast, blast. Save those times for that kidnap, and if that fails, Tara can always rewind. She's good at kidnapping too. Of course, basically, with all killy crews, you want to focus fire targets, group them up, and a lot of your guys being near echo markers regardless, so even if you're not ready to drop a nuke down, you're still going to get a bunch of positive swings from people, which is going to be really, really tasty. I really, really like this title, if you couldn't guess. With that being said, we've made it to the end of the video. I hope you have enjoyed so far. It's been a great pleasure. If you have enjoyed this video and planning on buying Tara at any point, please feel free to use this affiliate link if you're buying from Weird directly. It helps support the channel in a very small way, but a very valuable way. That being said, next up is going to be a Neverborn Master, so please let me know who you want to see next. It's looking like Castor at the moment, so if you don't want Castor, get your votes in quick. And thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate your time and effort to come here. If you feel free to like, subscribe, and comment down below, that would be fantastic. I'll see you next time.